And then you have the streaming resource API, which is very similar, except we're taking that request and we're saying, okay, the streaming resource is going to return a promise of a signal of your data. So the difference between the normal resource and the streaming resource is the normal resource says, okay, we're going to take the request, which might be like a user ID, and we're going to, from that request, derive a promise of the data that we need. And the loader is the thing responsible for creating that promise, and it goes and makes a network request and does whatever it needs to do to fetch that value. But promises resolve once, right? So once this promise either resolves or fails, the resource kind of says, oh, okay, now I have a value for you, or my operation failed, I have an error. And that's final until you tell the resource to go and refetch the result. So the promise can only return one value. So this is like a normal promise resource. And then you have the streaming resource API, which is very similar, except we're taking that request and we're saying, okay, the streaming resource is going to return a promise of a signal of your data. And signals are values like other values in the system, but they're values that can change over time. And Angular and other parts of the system understand how those values change over time. And so what this is saying is exactly the same thing. Like the loader is going to go and make a promise. It's going to return when that promise has data for you. But unlike the normal flavored version, the streaming resource says, I'm going to give you data, but I'm going to give you a signal of that data because that data can change over time. So when I might have new values for you at some point, and I want to be able to tell you about that.